Aqara just released the exciting new FP2 sensor with all kinds of advanced features. They sent me one ahead of time for free, and I've had a few weeks to play with it. And I've been trying to see if, despite all the advanced details, can the Aqara FP2 give me the easy home automation solution that I've always wanted? My name's Eric Welander. Welcome to my channel all about creating an effective Apple smart home. Now, a contact sensor is the easiest form of automation in your home. You can easily set up something like every time the closet door opens, the light turns on, and when the door closes, the light turns off. But that doesn't work for a lot of spaces in a home. What I've always wanted is a sensor for my Apple home that can turn the lights on when someone is in the room and then turn them off when no one is in the room. And many people turn to motion sensors. Most motion sensors use passive infrared or PIR to detect motion in a room. These are great at detecting movement past the sensor, but they often struggle to detect people standing still or sitting. They are also easily triggered by pets, and the last time I asked our cats, they didn't tell me they wanted the lights on. Apple's Home app and HomeKit have no easy way to automate when motion is no longer detected for, let's say, 5 minutes. Leave a thumbs up on this video if you too have found yourself in the dark while sitting in a room with a motion sensor lighting that stopped detecting your motion. Aqara's FP2 aims to solve these problems in a different way. Instead of infrared, it uses millimeter wave frequencies to determine if a human is in the room. By emitting electromagnetic waves that reflect back, it can detect smaller movements, and it's kind of like radar for your room, I guess. This gives it way more accuracy in detecting if humans are there. Well, there is HomeKit support. Aqara really wants you to go all in with their app to build customizations about your space and the different people who could be in the space and detect if they've fallen and a whole host of other features. It sounds like a very futuristic idea to have your smart home identify the specific people in a room and tailor the settings to them. And beyond that, you can show these options as individual sensors for specific people in the Home app. I'm sure some clever people will concoct some uses for this, maybe myself included, but right now I'm a busy dad and getting ready for a vacation, and I don't have time to fiddle with all those details. And I figured many of you are the same way, at least for some period of time. In other words, does buying this sensor require getting a PhD in all of Aqara's custom options, or is there an easy mode that requires minimal time and setup? Along with millimeter wave, the FP2 also senses the level of light in a room at a given time, measured in lux. And this will come in super handy when we start talking about automation. Taking the sensor out of the box, I noticed a few details about the FP2 that are better than other Aqara sensors I have. It doesn't require an Aqara hub, but instead connects to your home via Wi-Fi. It runs off USB-C power, so it doesn't have any pesky little batteries you have to remember to change like once every 9 months or something. Aqara includes a USB-A to USB-C power cable, but you'll need to supply a USB-A power brick or another way to get USB-C power to the sensor. But if you want batteries, there's no way to get that to this sensor aside from creative uses of USB-C, maybe a battery at the power source. Another thing I don't like about many smart home sensors, including others from Aqara, is that they require the use of sticky pads to place them in your home. These can leave marks on drywall or furniture, and it's difficult to remove the sticky pad and then apply a new one to use the sensor in a different location down the road. The Aqara FP2 uses magnets and a magnetic plate you can screw into the wall. If you prefer sticky pads though, they have that option in the box. The sensor also has a flexible set of hinges that allows you to angle the sensor to your liking for optimal performance. Thanks to the magnets, I was able to stick this sensor on a metal utility plate already in my kitchen, which made for an easy setup. Next, for adding it to your smart home, well, it has a HomeKit code and you could set it up with just Apple's Home app. You really should use the Aqara app so you also get software updates and additional features. Since I've been testing this sensor, Aqara has pushed a couple of firmware updates that address bugs, and I'm sure this will continue as it does for many devices in our smart homes. The Aqara app also walks you through a series of steps to customize the environment around the sensor, and personally, I kept all these at at the default settings for the most part to try and test my idea that this can be a brain-dead, easy-to-use sensor. Once you added it to Aqara and the Home app, it's not useful unless you add automation. Between feeding the cats first thing in the morning, coming in to do the dishes late at night, or anything in between, it would be great to not have to worry about turning the lights on and off in our kitchen. But the home should also be smart enough to not turn on the lights if there's not much cloud cover and there's enough light in the kitchen during the day. Well, hey there. I want to show you how I've automated this. So I'm here in my kitchen, and if I go to the light part of the sensor, which is from this Aqara sensor, you can see that right now in daylight, it's registered at 564 lux. And you can also see my occupancy sensor I added to the Home app is here as well. So I'm just gonna press on the presence occupancy detected, and you'll see I have two automations set up under here. So the first is when no occupancy is detected in the kitchen, and that's pretty simple. If no occupancy is detected in the kitchen, it turns on my kitchen off scene. In other words, it turns off the kitchen lights. If we go to if occupancy is detected in the kitchen, it runs a shortcut inside of the Home app. So I've talked about in a previous video how you can set up shortcuts in the Home app. And if we go in here and look at this particular one, I have it get the current light level from the sensor. And then if that light level is less than 100 lux, so if it's darker than 100 lux in this room, then it's gonna set my kitchen bright scene. So if the room is dark, turn on the lights is basically what this shortcut is doing. Otherwise, don't do anything if you detect occupancy. So as I'm standing in this kitchen now, it's not going to turn on the lights because it's much brighter than 100 lux. Over the weeks of using this sensor, I've found it to be the closest thing to a perfect motion sensor, but it's still not 100%. There were a handful of cases where I was standing still in the kitchen away from the sensor and the lights turned off on me. Otherwise, the speed of picking me up and adjusting my Philips Hue lights was nearly instant. Once I got the right lux level for the room, it didn't turn on the lights when the sun was out. Last week, I talked about the Eve switch, which has the ability to program a schedule right into the switch. I would love to see a motion sensor like this Aqara FP2 have an optional delay of 5 or 10 minutes you could program into the sensor for when it reports no motion as an event to HomeKit. This would be an easy way to differentiate a sensor and make it simple to automate in Apple Home without lights turning off the second no motion is detected. The real catch on this sensor is that it costs $82.99 US. Well, that cost for one sensor isn't outrageous. It would really add up to put these across your home. I would rather see Aqara ship this same product with fewer software features and customizations for something around $60. If you're willing to spend the money on this sensor, I don't think you'll be disappointed in the performance once you update the firmware and set up some basic automation. You don't need to worry about getting a PhD in the Aqara mobile app to get it to turn your lights on and off. Links to get an Aqara FP2 along with following me on social media can be found in the description below. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.